you're buying a tosai or maybe a nisai.
Yeah.
Something with a bit of Sumi, a Showa or a Sankey.
Yeah.
When you're looking at that Sumi, what are you looking for that tells you that it's going to come up and it's going to stay up? What?
Oh, that's a good question. Oh my God! Right.
Yeah, that is a good one.
So many variations to all this. I think the biggest bit is knowing if it's going to come up. This is at times, I don't want to sound, my eyes, just experience looking sometimes tells it, and trying to translate that into words and descriptions is not easy.
Yeah,
However, it's important to understand the different Sumi types as well, understanding the lineage, but then also understanding sort of variety specific growth patterns, which are really, so if we take, we'll focus on Showa. We've done quite a bit in the appreciation bits on this in past couple of weeks. So you've got two types of Sumi that we've shown. The one where we've got the Sumi that sits and develops more in the top of the skin, like the fish we showed last week. And then we've got the other type that looks like, when it's younger, like the Kage effect in the skin, where you can see all that grey underlying part there. Now, these are two very different beasts. That grey underlying part, you see it a lot in Dainichi Showa. We'll focus on them. That is just very unreliable. So what you see in there is you're seeing the whole Sumi pattern. Generally, you see it all masked up there on the fish. It's just that grey blue colour. And what I'm looking for there is some kind of progression of Sumi on the body somewhere. So if that's all greyed out, it could be within them grey areas. It could be the Motogoro in the fin, some Sumi that's developed on the head. Even sometimes, you have to be wary sometimes when you've got that Kage effect and it's Subo Sumi sat on the white ground, that if you look at Sumi that's sat on the bene, that can be a bit misleading, because there are certain lineages of fish where if you get that effect, you might not ever get uniform development. The Kage style Sumi on the Shiroji is just going to sit down, whereas that on the bene can progress and come through faster. Now, there's not that many where we see that. But what you'll often find is in like some of them Dainichi Showa, you get some on the bene that's a bit more progressed, but you'll also see elements within the Sumi on the Shiroji where you've got that same progression, almost like little dots within the middle of the scales or around the edge of the scales where it starts forming. When I've got that in conjunction with some, somewhere on the body, the Motogoro, the head, or on the bene, where obviously the bene's shoving that Sumi up a little bit, that's why it's sat there. With that lineage and my experience now of having them, that's enough to know that Sumi will at some point come up. However, then there's all the variables to this in how you're keeping it, how it could possibly react to your water. And the biggest thing with a Dainichi fish, an example, is time. This is not a process you're going to rush, because that sort of Sumi needs time to work its way from deep in the skin up to the surface and form. That's why you see it go through the different hues of grey over the years before you eventually get the Sumi, because it's coming up and developing. But that's not to say that to be honest with you, is less reactive to environmental stuff like heat and all them things. That sort of Sumi just needs time in most cases, not in all cases. The other sort of Sumi, the stuff that comes up, so you see absolutely nothing. You're looking at a Showa that looks like a Kohaku with a few shimmies on it. Them ones are exciting. If you like seeing fish change radically, you need that sort of Sumi. However, that sort of Sumi is massively temperamental. You can't predict where that pattern's going to come, because what you'll get is you'll be looking at some Shiroji, all of a sudden you'll see a couple of shimmies. Then before you know it, when it's on that process, you've got half a block of Sumi, and then before you know it, you've got a completely different fish. Yeah, that's the sort of Sumi that from cranking down in winter, going from your growing season to your winter season, you'll see progression quickly, really quickly. Yeah. Because it just, when it's in the right environment, it just flies. But it's also the sort of Sumi that will react nasty to a big bump in temperatures.